A stopover is not only a great way to break up a long trip, but it's also a fantastic way to see a new city or country. I'd always wanted to go to South America, so on a recent trip back from Europe to Australia, I made that happen. But despite my eagerness to see Santiago and other places in South America, I arrived without a plan. So after looking through some brochures at the hotel reception and doing some research from fellow YouTubers, I quickly put together an itinerary for the 2 days where I'll share you with my experience from the places and sites I visited, together with the neighbourhood where I stayed and other relevant travel tips. So with breakfast under my belt, I headed out on foot to explore this vast city of 7 odd million people, with the first port of call being Santa Lucia Hill. Built on the side of an old volcano, its modern history includes being a place of worship, a fortress, to now become a picturesque park offering a great 360 view of the city. Santiago has an array of hip cool barrios, or neighbourhoods as we call them, with a standout one being Bella Vista. Situated near the university, this is the main hub, and as you can see, there's a ton of restaurants and bars featuring all types of cuisines. And in keeping with what you're about to see outside, the decor and scenery inside definitely has that bohemian feel. And once you venture onto the streets, you're struck by the buildings and colourful street art. And yep, there's plenty more bars and places to choose from. It was still pretty early in the day when I visited, so not a lot was happening, but I'm reliably informed that it's a very lively place, especially in the evenings. But for some, it clearly wasn't too early for beer o'clock. Half your luck. Then it was off to Santiago Metropolitan Park. To get up there, I took the Funicular, which dates back from 1925 and has been declared a national monument. The park itself covers approximately 722 hectares. It's not only the largest urban park in the Americas, but one of the largest in the world, offering a ton of sightseeing and recreational opportunities. Once up the top, there's plenty to buy, eat and drink, as well as more great views of the city. A striking feature is the Sanctuary of the Immaculate Conception on San Cristobal Hill. And I can assure you the rules weren't being observed on this day. I then took the more modern Teleferico down to Pedro Valdivia neighbourhood, which provides easy access to the Cinco Costanera building, which includes a shopping mall in South America's tallest skyscraper and open to visitors. From there I jumped on the metro and headed back into the downtown and historical centre area. Once you've loaded up your BIP card, Santiago has a vast metro system which is clean, modern, efficient and easy to use. Once downtown, you'll quickly be surrounded by an array of historic and government buildings, all within the Plaza de Armas precinct, which is Santiago's main square. And you never know what else you might see. I thought he was mythical. And there's plenty of street culture, places to eat, and generally lots going on. So after all that working, I was hungry and ready for lunch. And for me, when I'm in a city, there's no better place than the Grand Market, so Mercado Central de Santiago was just the place. The market dates back to 1872, and given Chile's vast coastline, seafood is definitely the star of the show here, and I was keen to try it. There's also no shortage of places to eat, with eager staff trying to entice you into their restaurant. The place I ended up in had its own unique charm and house specialties, where I settled for a seafood soup concoction. It even had an old school Latin crooner to keep everyone entertained. After lunch I trekked out to the burbs to visit something different. Okay, well I've arrived at a place called Factoria Franklin. I actually saw this place on a promotional video on the plane. It's a fair way out of town in the burbs, and let's just say I'm the only foreigner here, from what I can see at least, but it's a place which basically just about artisan food, crafts, drinks, etc. So I'm pretty excited to have a wander around, so let's go and take a look. Obviously I came on the wrong day, but in short, Factoria Franklin is an artisan hub full of local food, produce, beers, wines, etc., and well worth a visit for foodies, and there's a local metro station. Barrio Yungay is the neighbourhood where I stayed, which still forms part of Santiago's historical centre, and again it's got that bohemian feel and vibe. There's museums, galleries and numerous bars and restaurants to choose from. I'll leave the links to the hotel where I stayed at, where the staff were super friendly and spoke perfect English. So I'm currently in the Yungay barrio, or Yungay neighbourhood. As you can see, it's plenty going on. It's a happening place, great art scene and all of that. A place I'd certainly recommend to come and stay on your trip and visit to Santiago. I arranged a full day tour to visit the coastal towns of Valparaíso and Viña del Mar, which were 2 hours away from Santiago. So about an hour from town, the first stop was a Rio Tinto winery for some mid-morning wine tasting, some local product shopping, and a spot of breakfast if you fancy. And yep, you read that right. Muy rico. Then we ventured to the port city of Valparaíso, where we were taken on a guided tour. Nicknamed the Jewel in the Pacific, Valparaíso was declared a World Heritage Site based on its improvised urban design and unique architecture. The buildings and colours speak for themselves, and it was just a shame the sun wasn't shining on the day we were there, but you get the idea. At the end of the walking tour, we took a ride on one of Valparaiso's 16 remaining operational funiculars. Then it was a spot of lunch overlooking the ocean. The last leg of the tour was the coastal resort city of Viña del Mar. Whilst it had some nice elements to it, it wasn't anything overly special, but it's always good to visit the coastline nonetheless. And I'm told the water is cold all year round. After arriving without a plan, here's my tips. To get around, you saw the metro's great, and I'm told Ubers are safer than taxis. I had no issue with safety, but as I always say, use common sense and don't make yourself a target. There's no metro to the airport, so I booked a transfer which was around €22 each way. Look, certainly some Spanish helps if you're outside of touristy areas. Whilst cash never fails, cards are accepted in most places, and there's plenty of money outlets around Plaza de Armas. A service charge is typically added onto the bill, but a small tip is appreciated if the service warrants it. So guys, after spending a couple of days both here in Chile and in Colombia beforehand, I can certainly recommend South America as a must-do travel destination. So if you've liked what you've seen in today's video, be sure to hit the like button, really helps the channel. Also hit the subscribe button so you're up to date with all the goings on and new content. And I'll see you in the next video. Until then, hasta luego de Santiago, Chile.